What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the top 15 guns in Warzone that I think that you should be using in your loadout. If you do enjoy this video, make sure you do leave a like and subscribe, and let's get on into the video. Okay, to start this video off, we're going to take a look at the XM4. XM4 right here, as we can see, as most people will build the gun out as a SMG or as a sniper support, because that's where it's most effective. As you can see on this time to kill chart, and this is including an open bolt delay, so guns like the PPSH, the Milano, and the MAC-10 will have a little bit of a delay in the time to kill. As you can see, the XM4 has pretty mediocre time to kill, but it obviously beats out SMGs once it gets past, let me deselect that. You can see it kind of clear, more than drop off right around this like 13 meter mark. 15 meters, they start to drop off, and then the XM4 will keep that consistent time to kill throughout range. But we are going through, we are looking at SMGs when we're comparing this, and some ARs. Only a select amount, like the RAM XM4 and the Groza and the FFAR. As you can see, the only gun at range that beats it is the AK47. Pretty sure that's what that is. No, that's the ASL, my bad. And the AK47 and the FFAR. But the FFAR, AK47, and the ASL will have higher recoil, so they aren't as practical. This right here is how I would build my XM4. And I would go with the suppressor over the agency if I'm using this as a sniper support or close range, with a reinforced heavy barrel to help my recoil control, because I personally don't like how the XM4 like bounces. So I put this on it. I go with the microflex LED because it's clearer, because I don't like the iron sights as much. Go with the 45 round magazine, and I go with the airborne elastic wrap, so I have a little bit quicker aim and sight speed, so I can compete with SMGs up close. Next up on the list, we have the AK47 from Cold War. Same scenario with the XM4. It's just you have a little bit higher recoil, but you will get a faster time to kill. So if you can control the recoil, definitely recommend trying out the AK47 from Cold War. For the class setup, we got the suppressor, just like the XM4, microflex LED, and the 45 round mag. Now this is where I change things up, and I go with the Spetsnaz RPK barrel for even more recoil control, so I'm a little more consistent at range. And I go for this stock so I can get better mobility, because the AK-47 is a little bit slower than the XM4, and I am putting on a heavier barrel. Next up on the list we have the Cold War MP5, which I'm pretty sure all of you expected to be on this list. The Cold War MP5 has one of the best time to kills up close, as you all know, but drops off right around 9 meters. But if you can barrel stuff with this gun, you will be just melting people. Like, it's not even funny. It's insanely good. For the MP5, I built out like this with the agency suppressor, the mounted flashlight. For the MP5, I built it out with the agency suppressor, the Tiger Team spotlight for extra mobility, and I put the no stock on there so I can still get decent hipfire accuracy without completely destroying it with the Raider stock. Then I go with the 55 round magazine, and I go with the Serpent Grip, get a little bit faster ADS speeds without hurting sprint to fire as much. Next we have the Stoner. The Stoner has a incredible time to kill, really competitive up close, and then drops off a little bit at range, but it has manageable recoil, and the gun kicks up just enough to where you can get headshots really easily. So, really competitive gun, great magazine size for what it is, and pretty good fire rate. Really recommend giving this a go. And now for the class setup. On the Sonar, I like to run the HD suppressor. You can either do the match grade or the task force barrel. I do the Axle Arms 3x optic, the 120 round belt magazine, and the Field Agent grip. Next on the list, we have the Swiss K31. I don't have stats up on the Swiss K31, but the main difference between the Swiss and the Kar 88 is that the Swiss will be on the little bit of the slower side, not by a lot though, so don't stress that like, oh, I can't use a slow sniper. But if you do hit someone in the chest out of 2 shots with the Swiss, your next shot can hit anywhere and you'll kill them. With the Kar 88, even if you hit a chest shot, your next shot must be either to the chest or to the head. With the Swiss, it can be anywhere in the body, your follow-up shot, which is really nice. And it has a little bit more zoom, so if you're using it a little more at range, definitely recommend giving this a go. Has really good aim sway, so like, don't have to worry about that. But this is this class setup. Either you can use the GRU suppressor or the sound moderator if maybe you're using this on Rebirth and want a little bit more ADS speed. Combat Recon for most bullet velocity. The SWAT milliwatt laser for aim down sight speed and aiming stability. The Serpent grip, and then you can either go extended magazine, but I usually go with the Bruiser grip for a little bit more aiming stability. Next up on the list, I'm pretty sure you all knew what was going to come later, and it was the FAR 83. The FAR 83, definitely a top meta weapon in the game right now. They recently did nerf the gun, but it's still it's not that hard to control. It's basically like controlling an M4 from Modern Warfare. It's not too different. The gun does kill faster, as you can see, than the M4. I feel like that's the best way to compare it. At range, it kills a whole lot faster. M4 slightly faster at close range, but obviously we're mainly using the FAR at longer ranges, so this gun might not be as practical as a close range sniper support, but you definitely can consider the M4A1. We have the GRU suppressor, Spetsnaz RPK barrel, Axle Arms 3x optic, Spetsnaz grip, and the Spetsnaz 60 round magazine. If you do not have trouble with recoil, you can go with something else like a rear grip, like the GRU elastic, or maybe a laser or a stock to increase your mobility a little bit further. Next, we have the C58. C58 kills faster than the FAR, and it kills faster than the AMAX. And you can get better recoil control with the C58. So definitely recommend using this gun. I do think that it is one of the best, if not the best, long-range AR in the game right now. We have the Agency Suppressor, Task Force Barrel, Field Agent Grip, a 55 round magazine, and the Axle Arms 3x optic. Same thing with the FAR, you can take off the Field Agent Grip, go with the Airborne Elastic wrap, go with a laser, or go with the stock to increase mobility. Next up we have the Kar 98, one of the best snipers in the game as I said before. Better aim down sight speed than the Swiss K31, and there are different ways you can build this gun. So, you can go with the longest barrel, but you also can go with a little bit of a shorter barrel to increase mobility even further, and it won't hurt your bullet velocity as much. It won't hurt it much at all. So if you want to try this on Rebirth, definitely can give it a go. I normally always go with a monolithic. Always go with either the 27-inch barrel or the 25-inch barrel. Go with sniper scope, obviously. I personally use the cover shot reticle. You can go with the crossfire. I think that's your next best option. And last attachment, I would recommend either go Sport Comb for better ADS speed or go aiming stability with this Next stock. Up, we got the Krieg 6. Krieg 6, very easy gun to use. Not at all hard in like any way. As you can see, comparing it to the Grau, it is significantly better in every way, even in recoil. You can see the Krieg against the AMAX. Krieg's damage range goes out a little bit further than the AMAX, so it is better in that category, but obviously the AMAX will kill a bit faster compared to the M4A1. Kills faster than the M4 range. Stoner, basically right in line with the Stoner, but Krieg will be all lot easier and a whole lot more mobile to use than the Stoner. For the class setup, we got the HC suppressor, mil-spec barrel for increased range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. Go with the field agent grip for more recoil control. 60 round magazine and the actual arms 3 times optic. You might be wondering why I'm always going with these like heavier attachments when I could increase mobility, but if this is a long range gun, I want to make this gun as consistent as possible. I don't want to make it so I'm missing more shots at range because the recoil is a little bit higher than I would like, so I go max recoil with these long-range ARs from Cold War. Okay, next up on the list, we have the Modern Warfare MP5. I do think the Cold War MP5 is a better option, but if you do struggle with recoil a little bit, you can go with Modern Warfare MP5. You will get pretty much similar damage range, but you can see that the MP5 from Cold War will kill faster, so it has its downsides of using this MP5 compared to Cold War's, but definitely a great option. Really low recoil, really consistent. For the MP5, I go with the monolithic integral suppressor, the Merc 4 45 round magazine stippled, and the sliding hand perk. If I'm not playing squads, I might go with either the collapsible stock or 5 milliwatt laser. But if you do want a little more mobility, you can go collapsible stock, or instead of the stippled grip tape, or you can go with a 5 milliwatt laser instead of stippled if you do want that faster reload with sleight of hand. Next up on the list, we got the PPSH. This gun has been through a lot of changes since it first came out. They've done a lot of nerfs and changes, or a lot of buffs they've done. Changed the iron sights, so it's a whole lot clearer, and it's a really good gun. As you can see, really consistent. In the beginning, really competitive, and at range, it does not change. So really good gun to use, especially as a sniper sport. For this gun, we got the GRU suppressor, task force barrel, Spetsnaz grip, 55 round magazine, and the QBB stock. Go with this for my sprint to fire speed. I don't want to ruin my hipfire accuracy, so I go with that. And I go with the Spetsnaz grip for as much consistency as possible, since this is more of a sniper sport SMG in my opinion. I go with the task force barrel just so I can extend that range as far as I can, and the GRU suppressor to not hurt my damage range, because I do not want to do that with an SMG. Next up, we got the Milano. The Milano, really good time to kill, and at range, still fantastic. Great damage range, so it extends super far. And some of the best mobility in the game, so I think it's a really good option to use if you want to try something different, but it does have an open bolt delay, so you gotta be aware of that when you're using the gun. And now for the class setup. For this, I do use the sound suppressor, so I can increase mobility even more and get better ADS speed. Even though it does hurt damage range, I counteract that with the task force barrel. I go with the Raider stock to give me even more ADS, to give me more mobility. And I go with the Serpent grip to help with my ADS speed. and I go with the 55 round magazine, Mag 10, right in pretty close to Milano, but you do get a faster fire rate, so it's a whole lot more forgiving if you're missing shots compared to the Milano. So it's a great option. Get really good mobility. Does have an open bolt delay, so you gotta remember that. Just like the Milano and the PPSH, there is an open bolt delay, so be aware of that when you're using it. It's still good even after the nerfs they did, so I do recommend giving it another go. We have the Agency Suppressor Task Force Barrel. You can either go Field Agent Grip or the Striker. You can go Striker if you want a little bit better movement speed and hipfire accuracy. Go with a Tiger Team to increase my mobility without hurting my hipfire accuracy, and I go with the 53 round drum mag. Last two guns is the AMAX. As you all know, the AMAX did get nerfed, but it's still a pretty consistent gun. We all know the normal meta build. I'm not going to go over the stats because we all know what the AMAX looks like. It's not as good as the C58, but it's better than the Craig and pretty close to the Farah. Next up is the Ram 7. Ram 7 again. We all know the Ram 7. Really good gun when they first nerfed it. Next up is the Ram 7. It's a really good gun even when they first nerfed the AMAX. People like to use it, and it's pretty easy to use. Not a big issue. And it has a 55 round magazine, which is nice. Got monolithic suppressor, obviously the Ranger barrel, Commander foregrip. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy and learn something new, please leave a like and subscribe. I will be posting more content, so ring the bell icon so you do get notified when I do post new content. And thank you all for watching. See you guys next time.